Good morning, fellow Guardians. So, week 2, the Insight Terminus Grandmaster Nightfall has nearly finished. So, coming on to week 3 for the Fallen Sabre. Now, I hope you guys got decent Hung Jury Adept. I got an okay roll and a few other ones that wasn't that great, but there you go. The ideal roll I wanted was Rapid Hit Explosive Payload. Hopefully, you guys got the rolls you all wanted. But moving on from there, let's move on to the builds for the Fallen Sabre. Now, I've done a video before on the Fallen Sabre. You're welcome to check that out, but obviously it's different now. The mods are different on the artifact. But Fallen Sabre. Now, normally I'd say 3 anarchies, job done, or maybe even a divinity. Divinity would be really helpful. But what I've tried to do is I've tried to do builds without anarchy. So I've done 2 builds without anarchy because, as I'm sure most of you are already aware, anarchy is going to be nerfed from next season anyway. So I've tried to do builds without it. So the last one with anarchy, but these 2 are not. So to start with, the Warlock. Now, Warlocks have been essential for the last couple Nightfalls. You can literally just go in with 3 Stasis Warlocks and you'll get it done. Easy, no problems at all. Now, this is because of the Bleak Watcher Stasis aspect. This is when you charge a grenade, you chuck it, and it turns into like a little turret, constantly freezing the enemies, and it helps tremendously. You can tie that with Glacial Harvest as well, so it makes shards and that, which helps regen and things. And make sure you tie it with the Fragment Whisper of Torment. Now, the other ones is really up to yourself what you want to run. I mean, I run Fissures, Chains, and Shards, but Torment's the main one because you take some damage, you get grenade energy, so that's what you want to be running. And you can run it with Eye of Another Wells, or you can run it with Verity's Brow. It's really up to you what you want to do. But in terms of weapons, now I've gone for Witherhoard. Now, this is an old classic, just because you can throw one on the floor and not have to worry about it. It'll just be consistent damage, and you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be important in this Nightfall because it's a lot of close quarters rooms, so you can just pop in the room, throw it with a horde, and leg out of the room again. You don't have to worry about it. Now I've gone for Gnawing Hunger because you need anti-barrier and overload, and it's void and arc. So I've gone for an anti-barrier auto rifle. Royal Entry, again, just for a bit of damage, and also help a lot when the ships come in at the beginning because you need to take the cannons off the front of those. If you don't know what I mean by that, I do have a video on the step-by-step guide on how to complete this Nightfall, and I will put it in the description as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the Warlock. Depending on what you want to do, you can always run like a Void SMG, like the Shigura's Wrath. That one's very good as well, just for the overload instead of the anti-barrier. It's really what you want to complement each other's builds, really. So that's pretty much it for the Warlock. Let's have a little look onto the Hunter. Now, the Hunter, I've gone for an old classic. Now, I did this the last time the Fallen Sabre came out on the Grandmaster Nightfalls, and it is a lot of fun because you take a lot of arc damage in the Fallen Sabre, especially even in the boss room when there's arc pulses going past and they're using arc against you. So I've gone for the Risk Runner. Now, not only is it an amazing weapon, it's just a lot of fun to use. You take arc damage, it increases your weapon power and your arc resistance, so it's a little bit of sort of damage buff and a shield as well. So chuck that on, and also if you tie it with the Overload SMG, you've got an overload as well, so definitely worth doing. Now I've gone for a Succession for that because I love my Succession. Normally I'd go for the Vorpal weapon one if I was to run it, but mainly because you can't really use it for much during the Nightfall, but at the beginning it's really helpful to sort of take out those shields take out the cannons on the ships as well. And I've gone for a Royal Entry, but again, you can run an arc sort of machine gun or arc rocket launcher, whatever you want to run there. But in terms of supers for the Hunter, now there's 2 options. You can go for the Night Stalker bottom tree. Now, if you watched our video doing this a while ago, you'll see that this is what I ran because I can just keep going invisible and reviving teammates, and just sort of, especially at the beginning when you've got to stay in the sort of Warsat circle, you can just keep going invisible and stay in there and time that up quickly. That isn't recommended if you want to go for platinum though, because you need to sort of time it and get all the champions out and things, but if you just want to get it completed, you can just go for this. It's also very helpful in the boss room. You can keep making yourself and your teammates invisible with the Omnioculus as well. But if you don't fancy that, we also had someone running the Stasis on the Warlock. Now, there's a couple of options you can use for this. I'd probably recommend Aeon Swifts, mainly because it helps the team tremendously. And there's a few different options. You can have this one, which is one I run. When you stun a champion, your team members get a burst of grenade energy and melee energy. Now, if you're running like one hunter and two warlocks, for example, and they're on the stasis, they want to keep getting that grenade energy back so they can keep throwing the turrets. So that is definitely worth looking into, and it really helps your teammates. Or you can also have where they generate special ammo for your fire team as well. So that's pretty much it for the hunter. Very, very straightforward builds. So let's move on to the Titan. Now, I know this is a bit of all sorts. Depending on what you want to run, we'll probably end up running 2 anarchies and maybe even a divinity. That's probably going to be the run we're going to be using. But it's really up to you guys what you want to run. I'm just giving you a few different options. Now, Titan, or Patrick Star, as he's been called, Void. Obviously on the Titan, this middle tree Void is so helpful in Nightfalls, mainly because you tie it with the Ursa Furiosas, you take damage on that shield, you get like 75% back again, pick up a few orbs and you got your super again. Really, really helpful in the Grandmasters. But again, it's up to you what you want to be running. But Succession, I've run Succession for pretty much everything, just because I love the sniper. It's very, very good at the beginning of this Nightfall itself, but honestly, you'd probably be better off running an ignition code on this one, because the blinding grenades are so helpful, just because they give you a bit more time as well. And if you're tying blinding grenades with stasis abilities, you're freezing and then you're blinding them, it gives you so much time to actually kill them and things, so you don't have to worry about it in the future. Now, to cover the arc as well, you can run a Shadow Price or Shadow Price Adept, or an Orang Hunger, because that will do your anti-barrier as well. Now, this is sort of up to you guys really, because you can have someone running anti-barrier and overload, but then obviously they're missing out on a special weapon, unless they've got divinity and things, obviously. But we're probably just going to run one of each, so we'll have 2 anti-barrier and 1 overload. We thought we don't really need more than that. So this is probably what we're going to be running. Now, in terms of overload though, we can always run overload hand cannon, so again, that's completely up to you guys what you want to be running. So there'll just be a void or an arc. The posterity is very good with the reconstruction, because this one here, for example, you'll get lots of rounds, so you can just keep stunning them consistently, and you don't have to worry about it. Tying that with the anarchy as well, obviously, anarchy's just absolutely wrecking at the minute. That's definitely the way forward. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it from me, guys. That's all the builds that you can potentially run during this one. If you want to have a bit of fun, I'd probably recommend going in as the rush runners. But honestly, for my team personally, we're probably going to run maybe 1 hunter and 2 warlocks, and we'll run 1 divinity and 2 anarchies, just because it's a nice, easy, quick run. And then we'll also run maybe 1 sniper, 2 ignition codes, or sorry, 1 ignition code and 1's divinity, obviously, and then other weapons to sort of complement around that. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to put on the Prosperity Vanguard mod as well. Now, this gives you an extra chance of getting legendary gear at the end of the Nightfall. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Now, as I said before, I did do a video on a step-by-step guide on how to do this Nightfall, this Grandmaster Nightfall, so I will put that in the description below as well, so you can sort of check it out at your leisure. So, thank you very much from me, guys, and toodles. Good luck.